Dragon Emperor in disguise, found a waitress hiding leftover bread in her bag. What he discovered. Emperor Zix Theron of the Draconic Consortium had ruled 17 star systems for over 3 centuries, but he had never set foot on the backwater, planet humans called Earth. The primitive world held no strategic value. Its inhabitants had barely achieved interstellar travel, their technology laughably obsolete compared to his empire's biomechanical marvels. Yet something about their species intrigued him enough to don a human disguise and walk among them. The holographic projection made him appear as an ordinary middle-aged man named Marcus Chen. His scales were hidden beneath synthetic skin, his massive frame compressed into a more modest human build. Only his golden eyes remained unchanged, a detail he hoped would pass unnoticed among the diverse human population of Neo Angeles. The diner he chose was unremarkable. Flickering neon signs, cracked vinyl booths, and the lingering aroma of fried food. Zixatheron had selected it precisely because it represented average human civilization. Nothing grand or deceptive, just honest mediocrity. "Welcome to Rosie's," said the waitress approaching his corner booth. Her name tag read Elena Vasquez, and exhaustion shadowed her dark eyes despite her warm smile. She appeared to be in her 30s, with calloused hands that spoke of hard labor beyond this establishment. "Coffee, please," Zixatheron requested, studying her with the practiced eye of someone who had evaluated countless subjects across multiple worlds. As Elena moved between tables, the Emperor observed her interactions with customers. She treated each person with genuine kindness, refilling coffee without being asked, remembering regular customers' preferences, offering extra napkins to parents struggling with messy children. Her movements were efficient but never rushed, professional yet personal. What puzzled him was her behavior during quiet moments. When she thought no one was watching, Elena would carefully wrap leftover bread rolls in napkins and slip them into her worn handbag. The action was furtive, almost guilty, as if she were committing some terrible crime. Theft was common across the galaxy. Zixatheron had seen countless species resort to stealing when desperate. Perhaps this human was simply another example of a lower being's moral weakness. Yet something about Elena's demeanor suggested otherwise. She moved with dignity despite her obvious poverty, never taking more than what appeared to be genuine leftovers, and always ensured customers were satisfied before attending to her secretive collection. Curiosity compelled him to return the following evening, then again the night after. Each time he witnessed the same careful ritual. Elena would survey abandoned plates, salvage untouched bread, and discreetly pack it away. Her actions were methodical, respectful, never wasteful or greedy. On his 4th visit, Zixatheron decided to investigate further. As Elena prepared to leave her shift, he followed at a distance through the city's dimly lit streets. The neighborhoods grew progressively shabbier as they walked, eventually leading to a rundown community center in the industrial district. Through grimy windows, the Emperor witnessed something that stopped him cold. Elena was distributing the saved bread to a gathering of humans, elderly individuals with hollow cheeks, children whose clothes hung loose on thin frames, adults whose eyes held the desperate hunger Zixatheron recognized from war-torn worlds. But this wasn't a war zone. This was simply poverty, existing in the shadows of Earth's gleaming cities. "I know it's not much," Elena was saying, as she handed out the carefully preserved rolls. "But Mrs. Chen from the bakery section said the store has to throw out day-old pastries anyway, so she lets me take some extra sometimes." An elderly man with trembling hands accepted a piece of bread with tears in his eyes. "God bless you, Elena. My grandson hasn't eaten since yesterday. We look out for each other here," she replied simply. "That's what humans do." Zixatheron watched through the window as Elena helped organize the modest food distribution. She had changed from her work uniform into clothes that were clean but clearly mended multiple times. Despite her own obvious financial struggles, she moved with purpose and joy, creating small moments of dignity for people society had forgotten. A young mother approached with a toddler clinging to her leg. "Elena, I got the job interview next week, but I don't have anything appropriate to wear. Without hesitation, Elena removed her own cardigan, a garment the Emperor now realized was probably one of her few nice pieces of clothing. Take this, you're going to do great. As the evening progressed, Zixtheron observed Elena coordinating childcare for job-seeking parents, helping an elderly man read a government letter, and sharing information about free medical clinics. She had transformed what could have been a depressing charity handout into a community gathering where dignity was preserved and hope was shared. The Emperor found himself thinking of his own empire. His subjects lived in comfort and security, but it was enforced through fear and absolute authority. He provided order through dominance, prosperity through conquest. Yet here was a being with no power, no wealth, no authority, creating something he had never achieved despite centuries of rule. When Elena finally emerged from the community, Center Zixtheron was waiting. "You followed me," she said without surprise or fear. "I noticed you watching at the diner." "I was curious about the bread," he admitted. Elena studied his face in the streetlight. "You're not who you appear to be, are you?" The Emperor's carefully maintained disguise suddenly felt transparent. "What makes you say that?" "Your eyes. They're ancient, and you observe people like someone who's used to judging the fate of others." She smiled sadly. "Are you here to report the food thing? Because technically, I'm not here to report anything," Zixtheron interrupted. "I'm trying to understand something, which is how someone with nothing gives everything away." Elena was quiet for a moment. "When you have little, you understand the value of what little means. Those people in there, they're not statistics or problems to be managed. They're individuals who've hit rough patches. Maybe they made mistakes, maybe life made mistakes with them, but they're still human beings who deserve dignity. And you believe you can make a difference? I believe we're all responsible for each other. That's not naive idealism. It's practical survival. A community that takes care of its most vulnerable members is stronger than one that abandons them." As Zixtheron returned to his ship that night, Elena's words echoed in his mind. For 3 centuries, he had ruled through fear and strength, believing that power was the ultimate currency in the universe. Yet this human waitress had shown him something his vast empire had never achieved: true strength born from compassion, authority earned through service, and power that grew by being shared rather than hoarded. The next morning, news reached Earth's governments that the Draconic Consortium had offered unprecedented humanitarian aid packages and opened diplomatic relations. No one could explain the Emperor's sudden interest in human welfare programs. But in a small diner in Neo Angeles, a waitress named Elena Vasquez continued her quiet work, never knowing that her simple act of saving leftover bread had taught one of the galaxy's most powerful beings what it truly meant to rule with honor.